Hi, my name's Shawn Welling, creator of AXI, Avengers of Extreme Illusion, dance TV web show, and a little dog film known as If I Could Talk. Amongst the many other films that my company, Welling Films, and the team behind it have generated over the past 10, 12 years. I'm very excited and proud of many of them. But today I'm exceptionally excited about releasing our very first film called House of Dreams. It's a story of the dancers, the original dancers of Planet Funk, who fought to keep this studio alive when the government struck out a campaign to shut it down. I hope you enjoy our very first film, House of Dreams. Thanks for watching.
I'm gonna fall.
We are no one special, just common friends with crazy dreams, carefree and still relatively young. We've had an adventurous life, yet there will be no libraries dedicated to us, and our names will soon be dismissed as nothing more than a drop of water in the rain. But in one respect, we have succeeded as glorious as anyone who has ever lived. We believed in each other's dreams with all our heart and soul, and for me that will always be enough. It has been said that when you die, if you've got 5 real friends, you've had a great life. Well, these are mine, and because of them and their strength to fight for their home, our home, a place called Planet Funk, life is great. Albert Einstein once said that everything that is really great and inspiring is created by the individual who can labor in freedom. Our craft, which we labor in, is dance, and we never really understood how valuable that freedom is until it was taken away.
You need to understand, if after my own investigation, if I find that you're trashing the neighborhood or that you're engaged in some illegal behavior, I'm not going to support you. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. But I'm willing to be convinced that you need to be there, and I'm going to give you a fair hearing.
Baby. Yo, what's up? My name is Marlon. That's me. That's Marlon. So, check me. Boom.
This is our dance studio, Planet Funk, aka our home, and inside these 4 walls is where my friends put it all together in what would be called our biggest show ever, ELC, Electric Light Circus.
This applicant is very close to finishing up a demonstration of his system for defeating your system.
The fact is that Planet Funk is not a benefit for our small neighborhood.
My name's Shawn Welling, and this is our story. Ray Miller was born in Fort Worth, Texas. Miller was news director for KPRC Channel 2 in Houston for 20 years. He created and hosted the long-running TV program the Eyes of Texas. The Texas Association of Broadcasters named him Pioneer Broadcaster of the Year. Mr. Miller is also my next-door neighbor. He's more experienced than me, he's smarter than me, and he has very powerful friends. In simple, he wants me out of the neighborhood, and he has declared war on the dance studio that has become my life, the Planet Funk Academy.
Hot off the wires of United Press. Washington. The United States Supreme Court today handed down its long-awaited decision on the constitutionality of the national...
The British cabinet met in a special session today to determine the government's stand on the...
San Francisco. Maritime labor leaders declared today that living conditions among unemployed seamen of this port...
The military and civilian branches of the government clashed again today in another stormy session of the
Today declared that Italian troops will not here. You in the air.
Studio that is walking out of that house.
Ivy News reported on Cabo says those angry neighbors went to City Hall today.
Mr. Wright Miller.
Now I want to make you aware of a problem in the 5700 block of Logan on the near west side. It's actually two problems. The owner at 5731 has a problem with his dance business. There was an old house on a wooded lot, and he destroyed almost all the trees and started remodeling the house. But when the building was finished early last spring, it turned out to be the headquarters of a dance business specializing in funk dancing. Funk dancing is particularly unsuited to be practiced in a residential neighborhood. It involves a great deal of stomping and very loud music.
Many parts of this nation, those he touched, will sought to touch him. Some men see things as they are and say why. I dream things that never were and say why not. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
We believe the owner is about to start a PR campaign to create a favorable impression of the funk dancing business. He is certainly at least trying to arrange appointments with members of the council, we understand. No, that you stand by. The owner of 5731 created our problem and also created his problem.
And when the wide dress goes out, there's two scenes.
Whenever they pull the wings off her dress, doesn't the left hand go off? Okay.
My God.
It turned out to be the headquarters of a dance business specializing in funk dancing. Funk dancing is particularly unsuited to be practiced in a residential neighborhood. It involves a great deal of stomping and very loud music.
Get a little bit of blood going there and bring your hands together, make them sting. Again, again, again. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, MTV star, Wade Robson. Let's hear it for him.
Everybody feels good? You ready to have a good time? Yeah? All right, I want to welcome you all to the Electric Light Circus.
I remember nothing at this age, yet looking back through the lens of my uncle's old film camera, I can see what was important to me, what was sparkling around my mother's neck, and that there was a great joy being high up in the air, safe in my father's strong arms. This was the first day to see, for me and my two brothers, our new playground. For my father, it was the hopes and dreams that were to come true, a successful family restaurant. That's me in the purple football jersey, along with my two brothers. 3 decades later, I would make my first business venture right next door to this pink building. Years later, I gave up my dream of becoming a great quarterback, throwing touchdowns at a Super Bowl. Instead, a little more simpler dream, having a dance studio with a dance team doing performances and shows. But today, my dream is here at Planet Funk. In a neighborhood I grew up in. This story is about the people that have come through these doors that have made a difference.
Hey, my name's Lindsay.
Hey, what's up? My name's Joel.
And I recently got the part of Cinderella-like character for the new ELC for Planet Funk. A lot of trying to figure out who we are as the character and trying to blend it into the show together.
And now it's like my parents see me doing it now, and I'm getting to go all these places. I get to do tons of shows. Actually, my dad, started looking at it differently when he realized that I started getting paid. But and even my mom, she never even wanted me to spin on my head, and now I can do it for a really long time. So yeah, it was definitely hard.
Your mom didn't want you to spin on your head. Why? She thought you hurt yourself?
Yeah, she thought I was gonna break my neck. So I got hurt a lot.
Did you ever hurt your neck spinning?
Yeah, I hurt my neck like 3 or 4 good times, like to where I had to turn like this. And then
Mr. Miller, thanks for coming today. My understanding, first of all, how long has this occurred in your neighborhood?
I think it was about February that we realized what we had.
Of this year? One of the concerns I think the neighborhood has, Mayor, is that apparently there is some discretion within the off-street parking ordinance that it does not address this type of building use, and so therefore it gives some discretion to the director of planning, who will make the ultimate determination.
It gives off. What does this house mean to you?
It means everything to me. If it were to disappear, I'd probably be the saddest person in the world. I love coming here, and it's a weight. It's a weight lifted off from the day. It's just this place it's like my church. Ready? 5, 6, 7, hook, boom, got, boom, got. You go there and you just feel released. It's wonderful.
You feel close to God, spiritual, feel like you're doing what He designed you to do.
Absolutely. This is my purpose in life. No doubt about it. This is why I'm here, to dance and to do this.
The vibe it gives off. What does this house mean to you?
It means everything to me. If it were to disappear, I'd probably be the saddest person in the world.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot like that. I'm sure you
No, I've been sitting here absorbing this, and several thoughts come to my mind but my biggest concern is that all of these things probably are correctable, and there is no land use ordinance per se for an activity of this type as long as the people have their clothes on. So if the owner goes in and takes care of these issues and it's not covered by the sexually oriented business ordinance, I'm afraid that they're going to be able to do this.
Right, and this may be something that the appropriate committee might take up. I hate to speculate. I see Marlene is stepping up. Mayor, may I suspend the rule just to find out what
the motion, second
what
discussion,
the actual ordinance
favor,
does and does not do?
Oppose, carries.
I think I've realized that the reason I'm here is to create stories through dance, through music, but bringing it all together within the medium of film, to be able to tell stories that make people think and hopefully change their lives in a positive way.
I think the best introduction to Planet Funk is afforded by a view of a tape that was prepared as part of a report aired on Channel 13. See it on the video
Crazes of the day. It's called funk. This group is practicing at the Planet Funk studio located adjacent to the Rainbow Lodge. It's a business owned by Shawn Welling. Now the people that live in this neighborhood want the city to take action and close down this dance studio. Other residents nearby include television personality Ray Miller, who asked City Council on Wednesday for help.
Funk dancing is particularly unsuited to be practiced in a residential neighborhood.
Yet despite the appeals by residents, city officials say they don't have much recourse because there's no zoning and no deed restrictions for this neighborhood. Arlene Gaffrick says the only stumbling block for the studio is if it can't provide enough parking for the business. So Welling and the residents now await the decision from City Hall. Don Cobos, 13 Eyewitness News.
I started dancing when I was 2. My idol was Michael Jackson, learning from all of his music videos. I got the pleasure to meet him when I was 5. And he asked me to dance with him the next night in his show. And that was kind of my first live performance, my first time dancing in front of a lot of people, 30, 50,000 people. And that's what sort of set it all in, that this is what I want to do. I want to be an entertainer. I started teaching class when I was 12 and really found a niche and really felt comfortable in that. It felt like it made sense right away. It's been an awesome experience here at Planet Funk. To begin with, it's a wonderful facility, a great place for these kids to be able to come and learn and challenge themselves.
Put your leg up that high, hands just sort of tweaked. Me going, yeah, that'll work.
They've all been really dedicated, really focused, they work really hard, and they work well with each other, which is just as important. There's obviously a reason for that. So I've had a blast at Planet Funk. It's been awesome.
I'm Ray Miller, and Mrs. Miller and I live next door to the Planet Funk. But I will just say that we're opposed to the variance. But that's just incidental. We're opposed to the whole concept of a dance studio that specializes in stomping and loud music right next door to us. And this is music. These people dance to music that shakes the earth and rattles the windows. It acts like thunder. The Planet Funk damages the value of our property just by being there. If this enterprise is allowed to resume operations, the value of our property will drop to zero, unless the Planet Funk might like to have it. It has crossed our minds a couple of times that the Planet Funk owner may be hoping to drive us out. He needs more parking. We're in his way. Let him continue dancing somewhere else. We don't need to have our lives disrupted by dancers looking for a place to park.
This is exactly what we're asking for in this case. We are opposed to this variance because we are opposed to the whole project. It is totally and conspicuously out of place and a violation of the character of our neighborhood.
Thank you very much. Any questions, Ms. Smith? Thank you.
Please deny the variance, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
I have a question.
Ms. Crooker has a question, Mr. Miller.
Mr. Miller, you referred to the dancing, if that's what that is that we saw. Now, as far as the music is concerned, even though that is certainly a peripheral issue, considering this variance, have any repercussions taken place in your home as it relates to the music, the vibrations? Has that caused a disturbance?
Well, we had a picture fall off the wall once while they were doing this, but
from the
I don't absolutely know that it was caused by the dancing, but the dancing was going on.
Had a picture ever fallen off the wall before?
No.
Okay.
What kind of stress level is that like?
It's pleasant stress. It's a very good organization. Everybody's got a great level of energy, and it's not good.
Because I'm not nervous. I'm more excited than anything.
Oh, it's actually kind of going back, but the nail is ripped. We'll see. I'm gonna tape it and I'll be okay.
Ever since I was little, walking on my hands was something that I really felt was for me. I mean, I tried to walk on my hands almost as much as I walked on my feet. Being able to be on my hands for hours at a time or to do all these stunts, it was really exciting, especially with Electric Light Circus coming up. I knew that we'd be having amazing stunts and amazing choreography and an opportunity for me to be able to do those things. And so I was really excited to hear about that. And then I heard that Shawn was bringing in Oloysia from Cirque du Soleil. And I'll admit I was a little disappointed at first because then I realized that I wouldn't be the one doing all the stunts.
One of my objectives is to take the audience out of the theater and into the experience that what's happening is real and bring them into our story and for them to feel the emotions. To me, one of the striking moments of the whole show is when the spirit comes down from heaven to take the soul of Danielle's father after the shaman has pulled the soul out of the dead body. When we had young Danielle, played by Sarah, embracing sorrow and loneliness and confusion and all the elements that go into somebody losing their father, you end up with the real tragedy.
After she got here and she was at rehearsals and doing her ring act, it was amazing because I looked up to her and saw something that I wanted to do with my future.
You know, what's up, Havoc Choral, Houston, Texas, Planet Funk, B-Boys. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do this flip, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do one of my moves that I always, that I'm known for, which is the head spin. Do it without meaning to. Just straight up raw, top of my head. Ready?
I grew up in a real bad neighborhood where there was a lot of gangs, a lot of drug activity. A lot of my friends went to jail. I stuck with dancing. I stuck with friends who danced and stayed in that positive realm, and I think that's what kept me motivated. Recently, in the past 5 years, we've traveled all over the world. We've done performances for the U.S. Embassy, countries that never seen hip-hop or this type of dance before. We've exposed them to that culture, and I think it's a beautiful thing. And to me, it's something that I would never let go of. For as long as I can move my body and dance, I'm gonna dance until I die.
It's great.
It's a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
What he was to us, what he wished for others, will someday come to pass for all the world. As he said many times, many parts of this nation, those he touched and who sought to touch him. Some men see things as they are and say why. I dream things that never were and say why not.
Mr. Welling.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know why, if you were familiar with the neighborhood and you know what a fragile, precious thing a residential area can be in this city without zoning, why would you choose to go in to a little jewel of a residential area and disrupt it with a facility such as you have put in that destroy the quality of life and the integrity and the stability of that neighborhood? Why would you choose to do that?
Well, and that's a very good question. I grew up in that neighborhood, and that may not mean anything to anybody, but I walk those streets and have been there.
Well,
30.
You should value it more
I
highly.
do. What I value is the fact that it's a wonderful neighborhood. I didn't have any children or neighbors that had children, and I found that kind of unusual. So it brings me credence to why there's such an uproar of having kids in this neighborhood.
That's not the problem, having the kids.
But let me answer your question, because that deserves to be answered. The location we went into is a safe, beautiful place for children to come. Most of the places, especially urban dance, there's not a safe place for children to go to. This is a sanctuary for them.
Hey, what's up? My name's Pat. I've been dancing at Planet Funk for about 8 months now. And yeah, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I look forward to go to Planet Funk because when I wake up, I'm used to going outside or whatever, taking out the trash, and then there's my boys, supposedly. I'm used to have to put on this image that I'm hard, and I could be, and I that's how I was raised. I have to look out for myself. Football season starting next week. Who you think is gonna win the championship? Man, you already know, fool. Who?
Don't even say New England. Don't even say New England.
You already know how I do, straight New England, baby. My thing that I like to do the most is dancing, and I'm used to being in an atmosphere to where if you dancing, you gay, and that's just how it was, And I always have to prove a point. Hey, I'm not gay, and when I have to prove a point, what I mean is just always some type of fight. I was always in trouble, always in jail, but then My auntie found out on the internet, you know, she found out I like to dance, and she was the only one to take it positive. My daddy was like, no way, you're not dancing. Hey, why would you quit football to come dance? Best thing I ever went to, and if it wasn't for Shawn Welling's Planet Funk, I wouldn't know what that is. You know, I wouldn't know what hip hop dancing is. I might be in jail right now if it wasn't for Planet Funk, because I wouldn't have nothing else to do. And I look forward to staying out of trouble so I can come here. Now, instead of being punished and not going outside, you can't go to Planet Funk for a week when I get in trouble. So that keeps me out of trouble. But once again, I'm Pat. I'm age of 16, and that's about it. Thanks.
It's clean-cut, wholesome, drug-free, positive approach to life. And I think if you're a neighbor and you love kids, that you'll look over and realize that this is a good thing in my neighborhood and not feel like we shouldn't have a place like this just because we need to have more. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Thank you for your answer. I think you would have a hard time finding anybody who's a resident of a residential neighborhood to agree with you. I know thousands of people in the city of Houston in residential neighborhoods who would not welcome a commercial business next door to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I asked a few minutes ago if there was any...
Before Planet Funk, there was something else I was involved in. Something not as great. I was involved with drugs. And I sold to people. And by selling, it's like I could offer things. And I felt needed. But one night someone came to me and I couldn't. And their reaction was to pull a gun to my head and tell me that I ruined their lives. And that didn't make me feel needed. It didn't make me feel good at all. There were so many things that I thought about before I did it. I was so close to ending my life, but there was one last thing that I thought about. And that was dancing. The people that were involved with it. The people that I loved so much and meant so much to me. The people that were like my family. And that I could go to with anything. People with so much life and so much passion. They had dreams. Whether they know it or not, they saved my life.
One great thing about this place is it gives you the opportunity to express yourself, and dance is expression.
And that's what dance is, an art form that expresses your feelings in your soul through movement. Even if it's hip hop, if it's flamenco, if it's salsa, ballroom.
It's the way the music overtakes you. You get to use the floor and the space and the music, and it really allows you to feel, to connect with yourself. Anger, emotion, pain. That's what dance is about. It's expression.
What drives us to keep going, and it's going to get us through late rehearsals.
And a lot of pain, and a lot of cuts, and a lot of bruises,
my feet,
and a lot of dirt.
truth of the matter is, today I didn't feel like coming in to see all y'all's ugly faces and listen to y'all's crap. And I support funk dancing. I hope everybody in the city of Houston does it every day in their house and wherever.
If it's personal, I'm the person, I guess. I think you already know that you're dealing here with a very clever fellow. This applicant is very close to finishing up a demonstration of his system for defeating your system. If you're tired of hearing about the planet funk, try to think how tiresome it is to have to live with it. The presentation you have from the applicant refers to Planet Funk as a proposed dance studio. I think you know there's nothing proposed about it. It is there. It's very real. It exists. And what I think must be the loudest sound system on Earth, right along our west property line. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
One of my favorite scenes in Electric Light Circus would have to be the water scene. It's a scene played by Oliver Asuna. He plays the dad in the show. He's approached by death, leaving behind his daughter. He leaves behind his daughter in the scene, and the reason why this touches me more than any of the other scenes, because I know what it's like to be left out, abandonment. I guess you can say it's a subject I really don't like talking about, but I was abandoned as a child. My father, basically, he wasn't around to be there for me, to be the father. I was raised by my mother, single parent all of my life. Awesome woman, amazing. I learned everything I know from her, from my mom. I guess you can say it's had an extreme change on my life as far as some various issues goes, but like I said, you live and you learn, right? Be proud of what you do and let nothing and nobody take that away from you. Because you only get one life and you better choose to live it wisely. And I think what I'm doing is it's great. I wouldn't trade it in for the world, because inside this walls, this place, it is my life.
Okay, I think we all understand the issue. There is a motion to deny the variances by a show of hands. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4. The motion carries. 5. The motion carries.
The vibe it gives off. What does this house mean to you?
It means everything to me. If it were to disappear, I'd probably be the saddest person in the world.
In dancing and singing and anything, there's always a rhythm, and you have to be with that rhythm. And sometimes you fall off the rhythm, and it's okay, but you you get back on and you get through it. You get through the song, you get through the dance, you get through life.
If it comes across, each one of you has an individual story to tell about that pain. Let it come through when you sing.
Neighborhood to agree with you. I know thousands of people in the city of Houston in residential neighborhoods who would not welcome a commercial business next door to them. Thank you.
We can understand without rancor or hatred how this all happened, but it cannot continue. Our Constitution, the foundation of our republic, forbids it. The principles of our freedom forbid it. Morality forbids it. And the law I will sign tonight forbids it.
Let me pass the mic to other council members who may have questions.
Councilmember Berry.
Mr. Welling, how long have you owned the property where your academy is?
I've owned that property for 4.5, 5 years now.
Okay. Okay. Let me understand why the neighbors are doing what it sounds like they're doing. Are they,
Well, I clearly believe, and I think it's beyond belief, it's an assertion of the facts that there are just a few neighbors that are very powerful and have incredible amount of ability to maneuver, not necessarily council, but politicians to thwart an operation against our studio. And it's, to me, a clear indication of inability for certain neighbors to open their arms to integration. We bring in a diverse group to an all-white, upper-class community.
This is Tasia Truitt, my chief choreographer, and the closest thing I ever had to a sister. And inside this place we call Planet Funk, she found her best friend through dance. This is her story about Alicia.
Alicia was my best friend. We started dancing together. I met her at Planet Funk, and I think like 1999. And we always hung out because we always had dance in common. And sometimes I'd go to her place and we'd make up choreography together. And my favorite routine fighter, still to this day, she made up with me, even after she died. And then the funeral was pretty, and the whole time they kept playing the song from Christina Aguilera, Beautiful. And they played the song Beautiful. It really fit her because she was a beautiful person. In the middle of making Fighter, there was still about probably 4-8 counts left that weren't completely finished. And she happened to pass away before it was done, like in the midst of it. And when we perform it, like I had to finish it, and every time we perform it, I always dedicate that routine to her. She was sick, she had a cold, and they found her Saturday morning in her apartment. She had choked on her own vomit because the pills the doctor prescribed her made her too drowsy, and she had drinking chicken soup the night before. And I guess because she was so drowsy, she had a bad cough that she ended up choking on the chicken soup, and they found her dead in bed. I want to tell you about my best friend, Alicia, who's also a Planet Funk dancer. She is the best dancer that I had on the team. Way before it was done, like in the midst of it. And when we perform it, like I had to finish it, and every time we perform it, I always dedicate that routine to her.
If you ever find yourself dancing next to Tasia, you'll definitely find her inspiring. But you'll also find it almost impossible to keep up with her, especially if the routine you're dancing next to her in is the one we call Fighter. For all of us, the fight for survival had just begun. This is where we belonged. This was our home, a place where we both met and lost the people closest to us. We weren't going to give up. We were going to fight this battle until we won.
And it's amazing, we go to theater and we see these artists and we don't understand how they got there.
Be quiet in the background. We're rolling now.
They didn't just show up there as great artists, they were nurtured. And that's what Planet Funk, I came to realize, is doing. It's nurturing these artists. And so many of them, how dance had changed their life. And when I first heard that, it was sort of like, I'm not sure I buy that. But then I came to see what they were doing, and you say, that's absolutely right.
You guys step off.
people who don't belong in this community. And that hurts when we've tried to embrace it with open arms. But as a community of people, as a family, as a group of friends who've always been there for each other, so long as people like myself and Shawn and Lindsay and Tasia, as long as we're here, Planet Funk will never be shut down. And I don't really feel like we're falling victim to racism. I feel instead that it's a prejudice against what we do.
Planet Funk dancers.
While being on tour, we realized how close we are and how much of a family we are, and how much Planet Funk is a home to that family, and how great it is to have that home to come back to.
You're on. Well, I think that the one aspect that I need to address is about the nature of the neighborhood. It has 3 office buildings with a bank on one floor, a high-rise condominium with a 5-story parking garage, 3 restaurants, a Texaco service station, a food store, a retail fan shop. This is a predominantly commercial neighborhood. I am completely sensitive to the fact that this very small area that the Millers describe and the people who have been in opposition are there have homes that they don't want Planet Funk there. But there's not an issue about Planet Funk's right to exist. We have all the other permits necessary to go.
I think there is some concern. This isn't personal. What can happen if this variance is denied? Can Planet Funk go forward by simply doing X? I mean, Mr. Lickey says that their permit's been denied, but we also have to. What can your client do, absent our approval, that these neighbors would still be stuck with Planet Funk? What can your client do, absent our approval, that these neighbors would still be stuck with Planet Funk?
Mr. Chairman, my name is Gray Miller. The fact is that Planet Funk is not a benefit for our small neighborhood. If you grant this variance, as you just heard, that Planet Funk will, in fact, reopen. Taking all the factors into consideration, I respectfully ask the Commission to help us save the character of this unique neighborhood. Please deny this request for a variance and direct that no further requests be considered by the staff. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Joanne Miller, and I am opposed to this variance. I also have a petition here signed by 6 neighbors who were not able to join us today. The petition reads, "We, the residents of Logan Lane and Asbury Street, are opposed to the Wellings application for a variance and to any and every other effort to reopen Planet Funk Dance Studio at 5731 Logan."
When one door closes, another one opens. But we looked so long at the closed door of Planet Funk that we did not realize that a new door of hope had opened for us.
Yeah, this is your council member. Just pay due respect here.
Yes. My name is Michael Berry. I'm one of your city councilmen.
Yes, I recognize you right away, Michael.
Well, good. As dancers, you know, you've ever been embarrassed, you've ever been angry, or...
See the whole panorama of events going on down there. I've never seen anything that disturbed me.
Okay.
Sally, so I move closer to the dance studio and would just like to really echo Sally's words. The whole environment with the children, we often see the children being dropped off for their dance lessons, and you know, everyone's happy. There's never any problem in the neighborhood. And frankly, never have had a problem with voice.
Happy for him to be there. I, in fact, am beholden to Shawn and his father.
That's my opinion, and that's
Any questions?
I say we live very, very close and never have a problem. The Wellings have been most helpful, most considerate.
I do like having that very positive young energy in my neighborhood. I think it's inspirational and exciting.
Will Yasser Arafat be back in Lebanon? You dream of returning to power. Were you trading arms for hostages?
In no way. You want to have an honest conversation? Let's have an honest conversation.
You've been now in the United States for, what, 36 hours? Your impressions so far? Live in Bahrain, Paris,
From Saudi Arabia,
Oklahoma City, Israel, Hong Kong, Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. Here in Houston, and the energy that Planet Funk group has, it's just the way you feel at 7:30 in the morning, isn't it? I mean, you just get out of bed and you have that kind of...
Sure, no, I do.
We're going to have them with us a little bit more later in the program because they just, their enthusiasm is infectious, and we all feel it here this morning. This half hour, we're going to take you behind.
We incurred a huge problem. We have to deal with it. We can't look the other way, and so we're dealing with it. Planet Funk's not going to save the world. They're not going to save every kid, but there's no doubt in talking to some of these kids, but for this place, would either still be on the street or may not even be alive today. You stop and think of that kind of impact. How many people can say that they've truly changed somebody else's life? Because I can tell you that this place has.
We want to save the character of the existing neighborhood, but the way to do that is to deny the request for a variance, not to grant it. Opening a dance studio is not the way to save the character of this neighborhood.
Go ahead.
My passion has changed throughout the years, but I know it's intensified since I've come to know Latin dancing. It's shown me that there are many beautiful things in life. I know that Latin's given me a way to express myself.
It's your whole life. It's the journey. It's the journey from the beginning to the end. It's waking up every day and doing something you love and passing your knowledge on to others. That's why we do it. We love it. It's our life. It's our passion. And you just work towards your dreams.
I know that Latin's given me a way to express myself unlike any other. It's amazing, and I think this is an extremely refined art. You know, when the weight of the world is on you, it takes you somewhere else, and it allows you to feel free for that moment.
Councilman Kelly, I heard that you were watching us on TV, and the real concern I have here is how do we have a policy that lets the neighborhood rest when an issue is what they think settled? I mean, when Planet Funk came before us last time, now because you're involved, does it become personal?
I think it's a different complexion this year, and I think if you look at this situation in an objective, unemotional manner, then you'll see it differently. I didn't. I was opposed to it with 4 other council members last time, and I don't. You know, I think if it wasn't Planet Funk, they'd have the variance. And who has been there to watch them? I've been to watch them. I see the professionalism. I see the behavior. I see how they perform, and I see what they do for the community. So then what we are doing is discriminating.
They were dancing next to each other, okay? Key thing, he's not afraid, you're afraid of like really getting it. You know what I mean? So you're dancing with someone who isn't afraid to go there. So don't let him.
So go there.
Go there, like him. You know, like feel that energy and like really go there. Okay, group one, out.
I even went out there on Saturday just to see if it was a nuisance. Opened the door, a lot of music being played. Went back outside of Planet Funk, and you couldn't hear anything. So I think they're being good neighbors. We have made a mistake here, and for whatever reason, agenda briefing.
Today has been a very, very special day for me. I got a chance to have one of my dreams, my lifelong dreams, come true.
Hi, my name is Gil Doldalau. I am the present choreographer for Janet Jackson.
And everyone knows how much I love Janet, how much I love Gil. Gil's my idol.
I knew I had to come to Houston to find some dances because I've heard there's so many talented dancers, and I'm honored to be here at Planet Funk. The quality of dancers here is amazing. I picked a couple of dancers.
He actually chose me to go to LA and audition, so I'm very excited and I don't know what to say.
And they're going to be able to audition with Janet's past dancers, and it's a private call, and so. We're gonna do it one last time, but those people I just asked to do it, they're invited to the audition. And then it's also, you know, it's how you perform at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're under pressure, that's one thing you gotta learn.
You guys, this has been my lifelong dream, and it finally has come true right here at Planet Funk.
Everybody feels good? You ready to have a good time? Yeah? All right, I want to welcome you all to the Electric Light Circus.
that it was up to the dancers to make the difference today. They had heard me again and again like a broken record down at City Hall. To keep our place safe, it really depended on the people of Planet Funk, their voices, not mine. In the eyes of these dancers, I made them believe I had everything under control. That's all that really mattered, because I must admit, still to this day, I don't think I ever knew really what I was doing. The only thing I was really ever sure of was that these were my friends, the best of friends, for sure.
So we are continually battling this war that's been waged against us. We are on the offense to try to protect this studio. I want to read something that came from the legal department 4 years ago. As long as these people have their clothes on and it's not covered by the sexual-orientated business ordinance, I'm afraid these people are going to be able to open the studio again. These are the different types of images that were portrayed about the children and the people that work at the academy we call Planet Funk.
Thank you, Mayor. Shawn, thank you for coming here. That quote which you gave us from the city legal department, when was it done?
This was in 2000 under Paul Bibler, who was the legal department.
Year 2000?
Yes, sir.
I'm glad it was before our time, because that's very insulting. I mean, your studio, it's not a nightclub or something, right?
No, sir, it's not.
You don't serve any alcohol there, right?
None whatsoever.
You don't have any people come and pay to the dancers or anything, right?
Absolutely not, sir.
So why somebody would use that kind of language?
I started there when I was just 14 years old, and I am 18 now, and it's been a very big part of my life. A dance studio where the greatest choreographers and artists have come and shared their craft with us, and a studio that I have had such wonderful experiences in. A studio that I hope to have my own children dance in someday. It's quite unfortunate that anyone would want to shut it down.
Personally can say after walking into Planet Funk that first day, also as a kid myself, Planet Funk has opened up something magical in my life for me. And the reason why I'm standing here today isn't just to save a job position or just to be another number in the opposing fight to closing down Planet Funk Studios, but to be another positive voice heard when I say that Planet Funk is more than a place to dance or lose weight or drop your kids off in the afternoon. To me and many others, Planet Funk is an establishment that brings people of all races, creeds, and cultures together that probably never would have crossed roads in life.
And I want to thank you, Mr. Allen, for doing this. And Mr. Cantu, while we have it, Mr. Cantu, then Mr. Welling, we made the same point. We changed the law to embody the principle you articulated.
I'm not convinced that that the city has behaved in a way that I'm proud of. I think the main thing we want to know is that you're being treated fairly, because I happen to learn a little bit of the history, and some of the neighbors have not been so nice, and for all the wrong reasons. In fact, some of your other neighbors that wish you weren't there because you're parking on the street say, I wish it wasn't a business there, it was a residence, but as a business, they're as kind as you could possibly expect. I mean, it's a tough bind, and it's like domestic abuse. There's no real winner in this thing. You got, as Councilmember Edwards said, the street has become a battleground, and that's no way to live.
This is a long-standing issue. We are making battlefields of our neighborhoods. All they get as a result when the signs come up and say, you can't park in front of your business anymore. I mean, it's becoming a battleground, and it's not necessary. I think it's bad law.
Now I have the concern of tomorrow. What is his business going to do?
It's bad. It's not representative government. And that's my point here.
We have made a bad mistake and hope that we can rectify this very soon. Thank you.
As more and more of us started looking into what was going on at the studio, more and more of us started saying, we can't sign on to this. Finally, a majority of us just said, you know what? Enough is enough. We've got to do the fair thing by these people.
The part of us that knows it was a sin to keep people away from their home has now rejoiced since its doors have opened back up. It's now, I realize more than ever, that our life we live is that much more drab and empty when that place was gone.
As they say, what doesn't kill us always makes us stronger. This is my home. This place will never ever disappear. I won't let it.
But as a community of people, as a family, as a group of friends who've always been there for each other, as long as we're here, Planet Funk will never be shut down.
You know, typically when we have done obviously convocations and other events for the district, we always use Spring ISD students, but we just could not pass up this opportunity. We knew that some of our Westfield High School students danced with Planet Funk at the Academy, but also we have some Planet Funk dancers to dance for you here today. Dancing with them is Patrick, the young man that you saw in the video who gave the testimony about how Planet Funk changed his life. Shawn Welling, the owner and dance instructor of Planet Funk Academy and the producer of the film. This group was asked to perform with Cirque du Soleil. They've performed on Good Morning America. Charles Gibson says their energy is infectious, and Diane Sawyer says they are legendary. Please welcome the Planet Funk Academy. And perform an award-winning movie. It's called ELCX, The Story of Planet Funk. Planet Funk is a dance academy that has attracted a number of young people due to its high-energy dancing. Unfortunately, the community surrounding the dance studio was not really receptive to them being there. The story of Planet Funk shows the struggle of these young adults to keep the studio open when the neighborhood wanted them gone. It's a story of perseverance, coming together as a family, and fighting for something that they knew made a positive impact on their lives. For some of these young people...
them and their strength to fight for their home, our home, a place called Planet Funk. Life is great.
I stuck with dancing. I stuck with friends who dance and stayed in that positive realm.
I was so close to ending my life, but there was one last thing that I thought about. And that was dancing.
And if it wasn't for ShawnWelling's Planet Funk, I wouldn't know what that is. You know, I wouldn't know what hip hop dancing is. I might be in jail right now if it wasn't for Planet.
Feel that energy and like really go there. Okay, group one.
I think if it wasn't Planet Funk, they'd have the variance. And who has been there to watch them? I've been to watch them. I see the professionalism. I see the behavior. I see how they perform, and I see what they do for the community. So then what we are doing is discriminating.
Yeah!